Welcome back. Just days after two killers of Sidhu Moosewala were eliminated in an encounter in Punjab, we now have the inside track of the operation.
This abandoned house in the field, located around 10 kilometers from the Pakistan border, is where the gangsters were holed up. Jagrup Singh Rupa and Manpreet Singh, two men involved in the killing of Sidhu Moosewala, were armed with an AK-47 and pistols. The area was cordoned off and people surrounding the house were told to stay inside.
उस जगह के ऊपर पहुंचने की कोशिश की तो उन्होंने हमारे ऊपर भी फायरिंग की, जो हमारे एक लड़के के टांग में गोली लगी। तो वहीं गाड़ियों की ओट लेकर हम वहां पे छिप गए और वहां से हमने फायरिंग शुरू कर दी।
Ambulances reached the spot just minutes before police declared Jagrup Singh dead. But the firing continued. Finally, after 4 hours, the gun fell silent because the second gangster was also dead.
हम ये नहीं बता सकते, दोनों ने इक्वली फायर किया है। जो हमने लास्ट में देखे थे, दोनों पिस्टल जो हैं मनु के पास पड़े थे।
8 shooters were involved in the murder of Sidhu Moosewala in May, and only one of them is still on the run.
We now have what is irrefutable proof that gangster Lawrence Bishnoi was the one who had plotted Sidhu Moosewala's murder. Here's why.
A phone call made to Lawrence Bishnoi just minutes after Moosewala's murder exposes the chilling plot. The unknown caller congratulates Bishnoi, who asks if the job is done. And the answer is affirmative. So it's clear that Bishnoi had access to a phone and has been running his gang from inside Tihar jail. Moosewala's murder was plotted by Bishnoi in Tihar and Canada-based gangster Goldie Brar.
Meanwhile, Bollywood star Salman Khan met with Mumbai Police Commissioner Vivek Phansalkar today. The meeting was regarding seeking a weapons license for the actor's protection. Back in June, Salman and his father Salim Khan had received a threat letter. The actor was once on the radar of gangster Lawrence Bishnoi. A big development in the Bengal School Service Commission recruitment scam. The Enforcement Directorate has claimed that it recovered 20 crores in cash from the home of a close aide of Bengal Minister Partha Chatterjee. The money is suspected to be proceeds of the crime in the SSC scam. More than 20 mobile phones have also been recovered. A day after the TMC announced that it's going to abstain from voting in the vice presidential elections, opposition's nominee Margaret Alva reminded the TMC that this was not the time for whataboutery, ego or anger. Alva called Mamata Banerjee the epitome of courage and urged her to stand by the opposition. Heavy rains in Uttar Pradesh's Chitrakoot district have wreaked havoc across the board.
Rainwater gushed into this ashram in Chitrakoot, inundating the area within minutes. The water flowed down the stairs of the ashram and looked like a waterfall. Heavy rains have been lashing several parts of Uttar Pradesh, bringing much-needed respite from the heat, but also causing widespread destruction. The Met Department has warned that heavy rains will continue for the next few days, and residents have been advised against stepping out unless absolutely necessary.
The Indian Air Force recently conducted a massive exercise in Ladakh in order to give a befitting reply to China. Rafales and Sukhoi 30s were involved in the aerial war games. There was intensive night flying as well and enhanced sorties. It will boost the Indian Air Force's capability in tough terrain. China is also holding similar exercises very close to eastern Ladakh. Chinese aircraft flew very close to the friction point in eastern Ladakh. A boat carrying several TDP leaders capsized in West Godavari district.
Former Andhra Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu and other TDP leaders were surveying the flood-affected areas. While Naidu was travelling in one boat, 6 TDP leaders were in another boat. The second boat suddenly tilted to one side while the leaders were stepping off. All of them fell into the water. But they were immediately given life jackets and rescued by local fishermen. It was a miraculous escape for all of them. After his party leaders were brought to safety, Chandrababu Naidu went on to visit the flood-ravaged villages.
Former Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa announced that he will not contest next year's assembly elections. He's giving up his assembly constituency of Shikaripura to his son B.Y. Vijayendra. Yediyurappa, in fact, appealed to his people in his constituency to support his son in the next election. A third monkeypox case has been confirmed in Kerala. A 35-year-old man who returned from the UAE earlier this month. He's tested positive in Malappuram. His condition is believed to be stable. All those who were in close contact with the patient are being monitored by the Kerala government. And here's how a train on top of a bridge caught fire in Boston in the United States.
A train carrying 200 passengers erupted in flames on a bridge over the Mystic River in Massachusetts on the outskirts of Boston. What followed was a frantic bid to evacuate the burning train. While some passengers tried to use the exit doors, others jumped from the window of the train as the cars filled up with smoke.
I'm sorry.
One woman panicked and jumped off the train into the river below. Thankfully, no one was injured. A preliminary investigation revealed that a section of the sheet metal or side panel on the vehicle appeared to have come in contact with a third rail, igniting material below the car.
A U.S. House committee on the January 6th violence concluded that the then-President Donald Trump chose not to intervene when a mob of his supporters attacked the Capitol. The committee said that Trump did not call senior law enforcement officers to issue orders or offer any assistance during the riots. Ukrainian emergency workers recovered 3 bodies from a school hit by Russian missile strikes, but Russia claims that the strike killed more than 300 Ukrainian troops who used the school building as a base. Russia's war in Ukraine has dragged on for 3 months, and the Kremlin has reiterated its plans to seize territories beyond the Donbass. An Italian astronaut joined a Russian cosmonaut in a rare spacewalk. The show of unity comes even as the Russia-Ukraine war drags on. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February, Europe pulled out of its collaboration with Russia on a mission to Mars. India has opened up the highly regulated sector of producing and processing opium to private players. How's this going to help? It might boost domestic production of various alkaloids. The company will process up to 6,000 metric tons of unopened poppy capsules. It's going to produce active pharmaceutical ingredients. Over 5 years, India still imports these active pharmaceutical ingredients, aimed at offsetting a declining area under cultivation of poppy seeds. Bookings have opened for Raksh Air's Raksh Air, India's newest airline. It will launch its first flight on the 7th of August. Initially, there were weekly flights on the Mumbai-Ahmedabad route. Soon, the Bengaluru-Kochi route will also be added. Operations will be conducted on 2 Boeing 737 MAX aircraft. And winners of the National Film Awards were announced today. The Best Actor award will be shared by Ajay Devgan for Tanaji and Surya for Surare Potra. The Best Actress award has gone to Aparna Balamurali, also for Surare Potra. In fact, the Tamil movie has won the Best Feature Film award as well. And of course, Surare Potra is the life story of the Air Deccan founder, Captain Gopinath. That's a wrap. In a moment, Maria Shakil with News Epicenter.